See if anybody coming through. Oh, okay. Okay. Just reading this thing. Okay. What's up? What's up? How's it going? How's it going? Just reading about another puffy lawsuit. Another white chick coming out said that her and him forced this chick into a threesome, some modeling. You know how it goes when it rains, it pours. Always another Diddy lawsuit. That's what they're gonna do, though. They're gonna come to break the bag. That's what they're gonna do. So anyway, that's the latest. Just reading that. But what's up, though? I finished up them videos. Yeah, I covering some ones. I've been doing. My latest thing is trying to do a baseball take every day. That's my latest. See if I generate any buzz on that. But that was what's up. Yeah, I got your message about that. Wonder if he was just eating a lot of supersizers, though. I'll never forget watching that documentary. That stuff was creepy too. Junk food ain't fit for a dog. You don't know what they be putting in that food. So thank you. Appreciate that. I had you in mind when I started doing them because I've been getting inspired lately. This one got me inspired by left hand pitches, and um, I'm thinking about doing one about the best teams in the '90s that didn't win. So I got a few more that are coming, but that was definitely there's some interesting stuff I can talk about. I gotta be reminded that I used to love baseball a lot. I watch it, but I'm not the way I was. It's not the same. It ain't the same. It's not the same. They need some life. They need some mouth to mouth resuscitation or something, and it is so lifeless. It's just like I can keep up and I keep up. I know the Yankees split with Seattle. Should have won 3 out of 4 of that series too. But baseball just doesn't keep my attention like it once did. I just don't think they got enough heroes and villains, and I just think it's pretty crappy. That's one of the things hurting the game. The other thing is that analytics that they're, when they reshuffle how they go about hitters and just the things they're doing, it's just missing. It's watered down, and we don't need baseball with parity. We love it when a dominant team wins. We got to give you something to hate. I don't want to hear nobody saying they hate the Yankees because ain't won a ring since '09. The Yankees, the sad part about being a Yankee fan, the Yankees ain't counted since Sean Kingston did. That's how sad that was. They have to do the Sean Kingston thing. I was like, wow, that's a reminder of how long it's been, too. Wow. Just saying. Am I lying? Am I lying? So imagine that. You thinking, wow, the last time we won is when he last had a hit. Wow, that's not good. Maybe we'll win this year because they mentioned Sean Kingston. Maybe, yeah, brought him back from the grave. I'm like, wow. Sometimes you forget where you were and what you were doing, especially when you don't hear a name for a long time. Now, I got a funny story for you. This was about 13 years ago. And my buddy, his sister modeled in music videos. You ain't gonna never believe whose video she was in. She was in Little Flip. Remember Little Flip? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Cause when she told me, yeah, she was cracking up. I said, Little Flip. I said, oh my God. I said, I thought T.I. had buried him because he had that one hit and that was it. And I was like, oh, and he came back with half a song that hit. And it was hilarious. But she had a video shoot. She was serious. I was like, oh my God, Little Flip. Sometimes people only think the biggest misconception about me in music is people don't think I only listen to like back. They don't know. I listen to a lot of stuff. And I'm always up, with certain acts. And I remember very well and then I was like, him? Wow. She said that with a straight face too, because I was like, I said, I'm glad you're getting a gig, but Little Flip? I didn't even know he could afford half a parking lot at the dollar store. I was like, wow. Okay, let me address this. What's hurting players' growth is the fact that the association in schools, there's a lot of things hurting the growth. I'm not going to blame it on AAU. I'm blaming on the fact that cats now are either going to college, they could go straight to pro, things didn't change. They could go G League, they can go international. It's just that the politics of the game is what's hurting the game more than anything. So whatever fundamentals they learn or whatever skill set they learn, they have to adapt to act to the rules. Let me put it to you like this. It's kind of like when you go and watch music artists and whatever sound is happening, you got to emulate that to get on the play on the radio. Well, that's the same thing. He said player, he said coach is getting paid off. Yeah, but they have to adapt to here too. They play against grown men overseas. Different skill set. Well, they paid to look the other way. Again, excuse me, they're getting paid to coach what the system wants to be coached. That's what he's not acknowledging. He need to acknowledge the fact that they made you positionless, and what they've done is they brought back positions, but you still got to emulate the Steph Curry style. That's not going anywhere. Might not be small ball anymore, but it's more finesse ball. Yeah, I'll look it up. But I can't really I respect Zoe, but I can't really because there's so many more dimensions to it than that. If you understand what I'm saying. There's more than just one way of looking at it. I wish it was just that, but they want these cats to play a certain way. Now, no, it's not crackhead. I'm defending him. He's talking like a guy that's trying to get a real gig. Read between the lines with that. He wants to get that. He got to win though. He won't get that Calipari Patino. He wants to get into that world. Well, he got to coach a bigger school, and he has to have some success. Because winning a couple NIT flags ain't gonna get you what he's talking about. But you see, the thing is this. I know what he's trying to say. He has to word it in a way where he's on both sides of the coin, but he's not going to be on the right side of the coin because guys got to get paid today. But I know what he's trying to say. I get why he's saying what he's saying. I don't agree, but I know what he's getting at. I know why he's trying to say it, what he's saying it. because he wants to come off like he's a players coach, but he also wants to talk about the way the money is, but he don't address the fact that they make money ring over fist and all the TV endorsements, and the endorsements are paying huge. That's the part he ain't gonna address. But I know what he's saying though. Yeah, I already know that. I saw that actually about, if you must know, I saw that about a couple years ago because he was in the stands. I saw that. I thought you knew. You knew. I seen that. I remember. I forgot who it was. It was somebody, but I had saw that though. I saw that. I saw that. But I understand what you're saying too, because a buddy of mine who out in LA writes, he gives Brady his due as a player. He gave him much love, but he alluded to something. He never quite told me what he heard or whatnot, but he wasn't like looking at Brady as the coolest cat, but he loved him as a, respected him winning, but he wasn't feeling him on the personal side. So something went down. I don't know quite all what it was. I still remember when Brady was rocking that mega cap, so trying to downplay it. So, like I said before, you separate the two. I hold him in high regards as a player, and but the other stuff, but I heard, I saw his niece. I saw about her. I heard about her a couple years ago. I forgot who it was. Somebody put it on to me. Well, I figured he would be. Yeah, I already know he's coming for him. I know he is. They had good teams. They weren't great though. You already know where I'm going to go with when I do that '90s baseball video, so you don't even have to ask because you know where I'm going to go. All the teams that didn't win the '90s, I'm gonna have to use them. Seattle's one of them. Baltimore's one of them. Cleveland's one of them. The team that only won one ring in the '80s that should have won multiples, the Oakland A's. Nah, the A's. The A's. That's the team. should have won more. Are you kidding me with the Bash Brothers? That was a dynasty. Just like Atlanta was a dynasty, Seattle was a dynasty, Cleveland was a dynasty. Them four teams coming off the top. Off the top. Those four come off the top. Mm, yeah. Seattle, Baltimore, Cleveland, Oakland. And I want to say, now, well, you talking about the Killer Bees, but no, the Giants, yo. Barry Bonds in the 90s. They should have done too. Now I got about five teams I can nail that I could say definitively they should have won. Five. Astros didn't have the pitching though. To me, I can think of the 90s offhand. Let's see. Let me think if I agree with you. Hmm. You think the golden age? If you're talking about the home run, well, let's see. So let's go back. If you're talking the home run era, yeah, I'll give you that. I know. I'm saying the home run era. I'll give you that. Mm, you got to catch. Well, no, because you missed out. You were 10 in 88. I mean 98. So caught you caught some of the best parts. And if we get to the 2000s, okay, then you're in good. But you missed out on the 90 through 96 was classic. 90 through 97. Well, 94, because that's the saddest year of my life. 30 years ago, baseball. That's the reason why baseball never recovered. That was a sad time. That was going to be a historical year, too. I mean, it was off and popping. People were going crazy that year. Stats were crazy. Yeah, you missed the Oakland A's, should have been a potential dynasty. You missed the Mariners to an extent, Baltimore, Cleveland. Atlanta should have had a bigger There were some great teams. I might make a case that there were, because Toronto won back to back. Kirby Puckett was incredible for Minnesota. I mean, there was a lot of interesting stories. And Tony Gwynn, you caught Tony Gwynn. Yeah. Caught Tony Gwynn with San Diego in 98. But the Yankees were historical. So you caught some. There were some interesting storylines in. I maybe. There was a lot of stories going on in 94. Maybe. Maybe. I gotta see if I remember. I don't know. That was bad because of the fact that that whole thing in '98, there were albums coming out. I remember Snoop, the game was to be so not, and there was all kinds of stuff, and it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and it felt like us were bad with the scabs. I've seen all that. Well, NBA, yeah, because they have to condition. The Spurs got the ring that year. I remember that, and then the Heat with the when they beat OKC, that was a shortened year that year too. Happens once every 10 years or so, so it should be coming soon. There'll be some dumb barking that they can't agree upon, and it'll be coming. Excuse me. It's coming because eventually that's what's gonna happen. They did come back out of shape. Boston won what? Boston won what? You ain't talking about last night, are you? I did the video on that. Yeah, well, once Tyrese got hurt, but they weren't stopping Jalen Brown. The problem with them is simple. They don't play no hustle ball. They strictly are athletics. They're all athletic. They don't play no ball. And if I didn't know Rick Carlisle, like if I hadn't have seen him actually win a chip, and I didn't remember him with Indiana 20 years ago as a good coach to very good, I think this Buster was a scrub. I think he was be like that Milwaukee Bucks coach that got fired, that's now coaching Phoenix now. He would be like him because I'm thinking, what happened, Rick Carlisle? I mean, they play that scrub ball when they feel like stepping up. They do. They literally play scrub ball. If you're a Pacer fan, you fall into that criteria of scrubs. When they want to be great, they look great. When they want to be good, they be good. When they want to be average, that's what. Because I'm watching them, and I'm like, I can't believe you're that dumb. You should have won game one. They gave it back to you. You didn't want it, and I don't know who you are, Johnny. So you better introduce who you are before you ask that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If I'm Jalen Brown, I'm going to OKC because that makes the most logical sense. Go to New York and you got to be a tag team with Brunson. You're already playing sidekick. You'll be a better sidekick with Shea because Shea will blow. Shea will be you know, I think him and Shea would be the most dangerous. It'd be like, that's all Shea would need was a running buddy like that. Problem with the Sixers is that him and Maxey will butt heads. I don't see that one work. New York would make the sense from the money, but that would be scary. Yeah, that's the smartest move he could make. Then if you're a Laker fan, you better not mess up next year because they'll make the playoffs next year. That'd be your worst nightmare. I'm saying that'd be your worst nightmare. Well, I don't know what his contract's like that he's guaranteed to Boston not, but you if you're a Laker fan, you don't want that over there. That's all they need. Nah, I don't think it. Only way I see him going to LA if it's him and AD. Ain't no way in the world would he go there with LeBron. What's up? How's it going? Welcome to the chat. Only way he goes to Lakers if it's him and AB. If it's him and AD, I see it. If it's got to be with them two and LeBron, I don't see it. And Tatum ain't gonna give up. Tatum has had car keys. You don't give up the car keys to ride in the middle, unless your uncle or your cousin or your daddy or uncle somebody get drunk and you get the keys back. He ain't giving up the car keys to go to LA. So I know you like to get Tatum, but you have to like make it a 1-2 punch, not a 1-3 punch, and not with the old legs. I don't know how you say that. Chris Bosh for me. I don't know how you got a raw deal. You go and coach a team that just got second tier, third tiers type talent. How's that a raw deal? Of course, you're gonna say Gasol, you're a Laker fan, but Chris Bosh was bad in Toronto. Paul was good in Memphis. It's a difference. Bosh showed me more versatility too. Gasol was bad in the paint and he could defend and he could score, but Bosh could do all that. Bosh could multi. He could defend in different sizes and places, and he covered a lot of ground. But it's all subjective to what you want. But now, if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers coach, you know you're gonna get fired. That's one of the worst jobs to take. Yeah. Well, that's not hard for me. Well, that's a kind of interesting topic because I really don't think of mid-range jump shooting centers. I guess if you want to say Jack Sigma comes to mind, I guess. Believe it or not, Kareem had a mid-range jump shot. Believe it or not. Oh, you just want to give Cat some love. That's all that's about. I see it now. I guess Patrick Ewing. I don't really, I don't really. It's an interesting topic because I really don't look at center shooting outside mid range. And you notice those two guys are always considered kind of don't come up big when it comes money time. So think about what you're saying. We'll see what Cat does though. But if they don't win, he gonna be in that category of kind of. Oh god, I gotta do this off the top. Okay, here we go. Let me think. Steph, Magic, Oscar Robertson, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Gary Payton. I guess. I guess. Maybe you give Bob Cousy some love. That's 7. That's let me get. Excuse me. I guess you put Chris Paul as 8. I guess you got to put Steve Nash 9 or 10. I guess I got to think about it. And deep down, I want to say Tiny Archibald. I want to give Dennis Johnson some love too, but just saying. So once I get past 7 of them, it gets kind of like, okay, I got to think about guys now. Sometimes I can whip them things out. Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to 90s benches, I'm going to think the Bulls and the Rockets and the Spurs. I mean, I'm going to sound cliche, but it's the Pistons. Basically, all the teams that won. Pardon me. No COVID. Basically, that's what it comes down to. Because those were the best teams of the 90s with the benches. And they all had deep benches. Pistons, Bulls, which kind of interchanged with what they did. Spurs later the Rockets. So that comes to because basically the teams that won had better benches. Basically, that's what it come down to. No, just you can't say overrated for the simple fact that he won. Now, asking is he overrated without having someone like Brady, that's debatable. But as a head coach, he legitimately put the defenses together on those early championship teams. But what happened was Brady's maturation and depth obviously won the last 3 Super Bowls. Obviously, Brady being as great as he was against Seattle, uh, and the one against Atlanta in particular, them two, that was Brady coming back. And he looked great in the Philadelphia one. And he did enough to win against the Giants, both those Super Bowls. So I think Brady, I think that's where you get into it. Yeah. But you can, obviously without Brady, there are some knocks. Well, yeah, because he did. I tell you all the time, the worst thing that can ever happen is if you let a ring go out the door and you don't get you another one or come close. That's what made him look horrible. And not only did Brady get another ring, he got stuck with mac and cheese. And when he got stuck with mac and cheese, them noodles went soggy. And then he had to go out the door. It didn't mention what. It didn't mention what. What didn't it mention, Ted? Oh, yeah. Well, that's the elephant in the room. Now, fortunately for Brady, Bruce Arians is one of the white boys that talks crazy. Bruce Arians don't really do a lot of fanfare. So he ain't gonna get up there on that box and go for that mess. So that's why he ain't gonna address that. But that's to me the obvious. But they'll never really roast. You want a real roast, or do you want that pseudo made for TV one? Because even all the cursing they did, all the antics, it still was lame. You let me get up there and roast, I'll talk about it. I say, oh yeah, glad you're here, Bill. It's the reason why you don't sit next to Mr. Kraft, because you let a rain get out the door. That would have been a ooh. How did Mac Jones work out? Ooh. See, that's how you roast. That's how you roast. How did Grunk walk out? What happened? Oh shucks. You win all your reigns because there's always either strike shortened season, a bubble, or something's twisted happens and someone gets suspended. You ain't never had one. No, he's not underrated or overrated. He's just starting out. What's happening, Tom? What's happening? Glad to have you. Not underrated. He's not even really in his peak his prime. He's just getting warmed up. He's just starting to get warmed up. I told you how I would roast Brady. Oh, how I would roast him? I said, them balls, are those balls pumped up yet? I say, I say, camera line, camera one, camera two, what you see? I'd also say, what is it against you and the Giants? What against you and the Giants? Why'd you miss Wes Walker so high, so wide? What happened? He's still very well. He just entering. You get people are getting excited because he reminds them of this and that, and he's starting to take the next step. However, he hasn't even begun to get very good yet. He's got great potential. He hasn't even gotten to that next yet. That's the scary part. But that'll come with seasoning. And of course, he got to learn how to keep his mouth shut too. Because if you pop your gums about Kyrie, Kyrie can have you on a roller coaster. You act like that's a diss. That's not a diss. Actually, that's a compliment. Because if he's more like D Wade than Kobe, then he'll lead his team outright, starting off early. That's what does get lost about Kobe. Kobe became a great leader as time went on. D Wade did it. That's why I got those two tied for the second greatest two guards ever. How you doing? How you doing now? Because D Wade did the thing. And if you can be compared to D Wade, that means that your defense, your tendencies, and your movements is all syncopated. So you're gonna definitely get a rise. Because that was a great compliment. And if you say he's more D Wade than Kobe, that means his 3-point shot isn't as fluid. So, but he's aggressive. He goes to the hole. He's timely. He has leadership. He has all the attributes that you want. Of course, I hold D Wade in high regard. Are you saying the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL today or all time? What's your question? Listen, I can't say anything about his personal life. You just asked me about him on the court. I ain't touching all that other stuff. I loved him as a player though. Well, today it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrows, Tua, Lamar Jackson. That's your 5. That's my 5 right now. It could be a couple of them could be subject to change. We'll see what happens with Houston. We'll see what happens, but those are the 5 I got right now. Yeah, I heard that. Well, because he goes like a boxer. Remember, I made the analogies like Sugar Ray Leonard. He bops and weaves you. He moves, and then he'll hit you with that left hand, and then he'll back on the right. Then he'll throw a hook on you, and then he'll throw that floater. I mean, he gets you once he's aggressive. Y'all don't want it. Y'all want to take the perimeter to the top. Um, People forget how talented he is because he's playing with Luca. But I know Jason Kidd said, go ahead and show that young fella. Go ahead. And believe me, he lucky that Kyrie is older now and got some maturation. I remember that. I was thinking about doing a video. I might do it. I might do another one about it. I remember. But what he don't know, what he don't know, he look at when Kyrie 5, 10 years ago. That Kyrie would have put a 40 burger on him easily. That's how he don't know how good he had it last night. So that Kyrie would have lit his butt up. I know what they do. That's why I tell you all the time when I tell you how fake they are. Steph Curry, come on now. Come on now. Is that even still a question? Your questions were, and don't get offended, right? But that one is kind of like, you got to be kidding. Are you even asking that at 2024? Did you not see what happened 2 years ago against Boston? Did you not see him get his finals MVP? He submitted himself so far. James Harden needs a map and binoculars and a bird's eye view to see Steph Curry. Come on now. You could have made that argument about 10 years ago. Yeah, it's not up for discussion. Who got his fourth ring and his finals MVP a couple years ago? And who is at the club by the second round who plays two great games, and then he has that party game where he gives you a quadruple 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 turnovers, and maybe 6 fouls. Come on now. That's all I'm trying to say. Some of them is pretty common sense with that one. That's all I'm saying. That's good. Jasmine Crockett tore that, but oh yeah. Yep. That's funny. That was funny. That's one of my favorite lines. Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know if you're a James Harden fan or not. Look, 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But this ain't 2014. That James Harden is long gone. That James Harden checked out after he left Brooklyn. He has a moment where he'll steal a game or two to shut everybody up. And then what? They get their butt knocked out. All right, what's up? I don't know who Nice Job is, so. Yeah, they will. They will. Well, I mean, he was playing a different. He changed the course of basketball. So when you're a point guard who's dictating the tempo with shooting threes, obviously you're doing more with less because you're not facilitating. Because see, James Harden got to play with Dwight Howard, and they didn't utilize that 1-2 punch at all. He is. He really is. Because as long as 3-pointer line's been around and the guys I saw shoot it, no one changed it like this guy did. I mean, he was. That's why he's top 10 in my all-time top 10 list. I never make light of a guy who changes the course of what you see because you got to start a conversation with him because he stands out like that. You know how hard it is to set a trend in something that's been around forever and a day? And now, you're not ordinary. No, I don't care about all that. I don't care about all that. That's a waste of time. I guess he get that gold medal, but I don't really care about all that. Because I think he much rather be playing right now. And I called that already. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate everybody that's coming through. As always, Tom. Thank you. I don't care about Curry. What's up? What's happening? I don't care about Curry being on the Olympic team. Good for him to get a medal. I guess he'll bring all his awards out, but I think he'd still rather be playing right now. He's had plenty of time to heal up. He gonna stay silent on that. That ain't gonna come up. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just being me. So where you coming from tonight? Before people give compliments to me, where you're from, where you are, as we're just chatting. Now, see, Tom, now that's one of the best strong takes right after Ted's statement, but we didn't gonna talk about Dana White because that's off. That's not gonna be talked about. Okay, but you saw that Josh Giddey, they dropped the chart, fine, whatever. Um, that's why he's taking it out. He gonna take it out on Ant too. Yeah, he been disrespected. But that's why people who get excited about the Olympics, sometimes there's always somebody who gets the short end of the stick. There's always somebody. And it's a lot of politics. That's why I could care less about that garbage, if you want my honest opinion. And yes, I do acknowledge the military folks this weekend for Memorial Day because my grandfather and quite a few of my relatives, but I don't care about no U.S. Olympics though. They don't really mean much because they don't take pride in stuff. And when they get into the politics of who they want, yeah, I remember. I remember it too. When they go about it, it don't really mean much. But Kyrie should have gotten a chance. He should have gotten a chance. But you see, that's how you know how soft these cats are. They can't even say nothing because they say anything, the master will slap them down. Tell them you say something, you're gonna be like Puffy. Hmm. How's it gonna look if Dallas does win the series and goes to the finals and maybe wins and he don't get in there? And he'll have more rings than quite a few of those cats. Because they act like he don't know how to play ball. They forgot how talented he is. Granted, he gave him something to work with when he went to Boston and in Brooklyn in terms of on the court. But when he plays and he's turned up, he ain't nothing nice. He can hang. People forget about his skill set. They'll beat him if they don't get caught going to sleep. Don't let Minnesota, you know, tag him up on defense, and then they don't let Mike Conley go off. Because see, Minnesota has to get a Mike Conley to come up big. Or they got to get their four guys to come up big, five, and they got to get the bench. They have to be able to, get physical with Dallas. They can't let Dallas dictate. And it's close. It's gonna be close. But I do think that if Dallas does win it, it's because of a nudge. It's adjustments. But if they get Kyrie in a less than 10-point game. Well, I'm gonna tell you a story about that time because of the fact, well, Kyrie should be on before Drew. Okay, he should be. He won and he was pivotal. And believe me, if you think about it, he won that ring about a decade ago. Okay, for me, it's Nas. I like Nas better as a rapper. Um, but this is politics with Kyrie. He upset the apple cart a year ago. And folks be hating. Folks be hating. So he's redeeming himself and he's gonna be a fine citizen. I would tell you one of the most gangsters things Kyrie could do though. He could go and win the ring in Dallas and then retire. That would send shockwaves. You heard it here first. I think that would be the best gotcha moment that ever could be happening. And you get a lot of whoa. Tell you. Because I think he's tired of it though. They basically emasculated him and took so much away. The reason why I take Nas over Eminem is because Nas to me is better wordplay, has better depth. Eminem is catchy, and I understand his impact, catchy, but Nas always moved me more. And I know M wouldn't want to smoke with Nas. Not on them bars, he wouldn't. But they hit in two different ways, though. Mm. Yeah, he do. But that's not why I picked him. That's not why I picked him. Nas just moved me more. And Nas can spit and flow. So, because you don't want to go against Nas in the battle. But it don't really matter because he didn't end Jay-Z's career. Yeah, and that was much ado about nothing. They both benefited. Ether should have been a takeout though, because that was cold. He waxed Jay-Z in that one, but Jay-Z had more crossover. People don't care. You know what? So that's what Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flat, what Melly Mel said. There's some truth to that. But the problem that I have, you know, my real problem with him, besides that, I'm gonna tell you my real problem with him, Ted. He don't really talk about much of nothing. Like I'll give you an example. Tina Marie was white, but we embraced her as an R&B singer. She connected. She had soul. She had feeling. He gets passed. He gets a pass. However, I don't feel no depth to what he does. Like I did like the song "Stan." He has some stuff that I like, but it's always kind of like slinky dinky, cookie cutter type. Um, you know, um, I don't feel a lot of depth in there. But him being associated with Dr. Dre and all that. But I mean, you know, but I think the biggest problem is I just feel like he's just kind of soulless. He can spit and he's got a platform to brown, we know that, but I don't really feel like it carries any depth. So that's what turns me on with him. He just leaves me kind of cold. If you were good, you'd be even greater if you're white and you can pull it off. Because there are white talents that can, but you know, he got over in a big way. Well, I'm gonna say something, Tom. That's not it's not about the Boston Celtic fans. Oh yeah, he done said some racist stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I lost a couple of people who used to follow me too, because I said I can't get down with him, and they didn't like it. And I said, "Well, tough. I can't condone some white boy who be popping off like that." I listen to some of his stuff. I've listened to him, believe me, and he's catchy, and he always comes with a catchy, you know. But it's tongue in cheek, and it's you know. But I didn't never got. It's a burb thing. I never got the big hoopla about him. Never got it. But I understand why he blew up. I get it. And he was credible for a white rapper. But having said that, he don't move me. And he just don't move me. Not like that. But anyway, the Kyrie thing ain't gonna be for the Celtics, it's gonna be for the whole NBA. That's for the whole NBA. That's for Adam Silver, that racist Brooklyn Nets owner, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, all of them, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, all of them. All of them. All the ones that wanted to boycott him. So if he wins, how you like me now? So yeah. Do a lot for him. Puts him in the conversation with Giannis and Jokic. And then you know who's next on the list would be Joel Embiid. Will he ever get to the process? And then it would make sense because then three of their money brands who they've been pushing and promoting is champions. That's why it looks like it's so scripted, Ted. And but then if Jason Tatum wins, and that's why people are hyped about Ant. Stuff looks scripted. But just keeping it 100. But Dallas does look good, but it looks scripted. I don't know. I don't know. Don't care. First of all, it ain't football season. Second of all, that is not the division to be asking me about because them teams are lackluster. The heck I'm gonna care about Tampa Bay. Atlanta gonna be interesting because I like Michael Phoenix Jr. Penix, but I gotta see it. I can't say nothing now. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans. I mean, come on now. You know Carolina gonna be at the bottom, so well they gonna be okay. I can't answer that question. What I'd like to see if I had to pick one team would probably be more closer to Atlanta. But I don't really care at this stage. We haven't got to the season yet. So I don't care from a standpoint that it's not the season. And I can't really tell you until I see training camps. I can't really tell you till guys get seasoned. That's the reason why I can't say. Oh, I'm sure they're gonna make sure they'll Faker Baker Mayfield look good. David Carr didn't do too good in New Orleans, so that looks kind of Atlanta could be interesting. Well, they need him to play more because actually they need to decide if they're gonna stunt. And what I mean by stunt, they need to go if they're gonna stunt defend Kyrie or they're gonna stunt defend Luca. If he ain't putting up no points and no assists and no uh, steals or nothing, then he had less minutes. But if they got him running the whole nine and he has to actually contribute, then they're gonna need him. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's somewhere in the 11 to 20 spot. I think what hurts him is the fact he didn't lead a team to a championship or at least contend more in his career. And he went from a guy that kind of seen as a guy who plays 21, stat pad. I like his energy a lot, but he didn't get to where he's supposed to. So we didn't get to see him. He needs to show something, you know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll respect Oscar Robertson more than they will Russell Westbrook in hindsight, because that's who should get the respect more anyway. The problem I have with Russell Westbrook, he didn't play for too many teams, and he can play. However, it just starts to just kind of sag and drag now, and you're forgetting about him. And I think that's the problem. Like I said, his style didn't near it going to the finals near enough with deep runs, so he kind of just got left by the wayside. Had he gotten a ring, and then you factor in the stats, and then you look at all the other stuff, then I think that would have gone a lot further. The problem that we're talking about is that he's not as respected as Chris Paul, but he's got better stats. So when you ask these questions and you asked about top 20 where he ranked, that should tell you something right there. Peyton's top 10 for me because he was great in Seattle. You may have just missed him in Seattle. He was great. I got Glove in the top 10. Like your Draymond video. Thank you. Well, that's true, but they got 4 rings though, and they, 4 out of 6. That's an incredible run. I mean, you got 4 rings in like a decade run, 11 years. I mean, next year marks 10 years. That's incredible run. The way they won, you know, he did. They may not have gotten KD if they win that series, but we'll never know. But yeah, I clacked up when I said people don't understand how dominant Shaq was. I mean, You just don't understand. He was a freak. Yeah, he is. You gotta start. I mean, for me, because when you win multiple times like he did, you got to go back to Bill Russell for a center. And another reason why Shaq should get hired too is because think about this: LeBron camped out in the finals for a decade, no three-peat. Steph Curry, 6 trips, 10 years, no three-peat. Kevin Durant, no three-peat. Those are three of the most influential players the last 25, 30 years, right? If I say Steph, LeBron, KD, if I throw Kawhi Leonard in there, he ain't high as them, but he has a case, you know, somewhere in the 20s, no three. Kobe didn't three-peat without Shaq. Point is, Duncan didn't do it. Just let that sink in. How hard it is to dominate year in and year out. And then people say you ain't in shape, you don't take care of yourself. You don't repeat. You don't have that kind of success if you're not one step ahead. So I'm trying to hit it. Oh yeah, I just heard. Y'all like Akeem. Just heard that Lady Gaga was spreading COVID at her show, knowing that she had it. And I think they said Taylor Swift stuff going. They're still out there in the audience. So all these people keep going to all these shows. So you be careful when y'all hear people be spreading stuff. They ain't gonna say nothing. No shark. Yeah, it's on the thing, and I think Taylor Swift something was going on in Paris too, but Gaga just said she had it. Yeah, and he died too. I remember all too well. And to me, that's why I have a problem with people who be all giddy up about Trump. I said, do y'all not remember that there was a national viral catastrophe, and this man sat there? Me too. Me too. I let it be known. Everybody who know me know I wear mine. There you go. Just for proof, for proof. Because I don't be trusting none of it. Mm-mm. I get some strange looks. But what I like about it is if I see some white women be looking at me crazy, I said, well, I don't know if it's because black skin scares you or my mask scares you. Because I get those looks. I said, I'm fine. I said, but I don't want you. And they got the nerve to look at you and be coughing and going, and just like you want to. I'm like, don't you hear how you sound? You know? You know? So, yep. It's real. Because, I mean, you know, people I know died. It just it's regardless of how you downplay it or something, you know there's something out there that they can do this again. Just so you know. They can do it again. And they're not gonna tell everybody the truth. So they you know, I'm doing all right. How you doing? They're never gonna tell the truth about it because but when they have another segment happen where you gotta go get your good to hear from you, glad to see you. Next time, you know the white coats gotta come up with something to get you to come in there because they lost a lot during the flu with it. Government's so janky though, real janky. Yeah, glad to see you. Okay. People went quiet again. I don't know what happened. Well, they will. I'm sure they'll have to for them to win it all. I think, you know, as long as they're hitting the boards like they did, award of the slam dunk contest, cat, if they can get putbacks, you know, they will. But they're not the deepest bench I've seen. And see, that's why some of these things that I'm seeing are so strange, if you must know. Like, I'll give you an example. The Pacers got talent. They just play dumb. The Timberwolves are just puppies right now. They can make adjustments. They could, but if they don't, the youth played a big part. And the Celtics got a good squad for what they do. But no, he just said they need to step up. They's okay. But there's a lot of, again, it depends on what kind of lineup matchups that they, can exploit. They're pretty well-rounded team though. They just beat OKC because OKC is young and they could get physical with them, which they did. And Chad got punched in the chest and he didn't have any up and they didn't have a third option. Okay, Shea played out his mind, but Dallas kept giving different looks. This is what they did against Minnesota. So if you want to beat Dallas, you got to figure out who you're going to crowd. You're better off letting them shoot threes because if what happened with Kyrie the other night, yes, it was a nip and tuck game, but he got off. That opens up the avenue for alley oops, pecks, store picks, screens. Problem is you got to be careful with that because Luca definitely holds his own on the top. So you got to be very careful. I expect Minnesota to come with a different approach. Yeah, because they tried to. What Minnesota did is that they face guarded the 3-point line, but that's not why Kyrie. That's not Kyrie's strength. He ain't Steph Curry. So he goes slashing and breaks you off, then you recover, and then you don't have those cutters. When you went against Denver, you could trap Jokic because they were going to shoot threes. That's how Aaron Gordon would get cooking. That's how MPJ would get cooking. Murray too, and Jokic to an extent too. This is a different situation because Dallas is actually more dangerous cutting, and that's how they did them. They cut them down. Indiana has a talented team, but they just play dumb. Sorry, Tom, but I can't clap for them because they play dumb. The talent's there, but this here, mm, and unless I see them coming with some mental capacity, they're gonna have a hard time against Boston because they get outworked. They don't play 4 quarters of basketball. They play that scrub ball, and they play that when we feel like it. And that's why Boston's tearing it behind them now. Got to finish their games up. Barely. Barely. They better win game 3. They're not a good they're that's not a team that I can get excited about because they just play dumb. They're talented, but they play dumb. And you remember, you don't want to be called dumb. And that's how I look at them. I'm like, I have a Fred G. Sanford moment when I think about the Pacers. You big dummy. Because I just feel that the way they lost that first game, it's kind of like how they lost that first game against the Knicks. The difference between this and the Knicks, though, is there's only one Jalen Brunson. Boston could hit you with White could get hot, Tatum could get hot, Brown could get hot. They got way too many. They got enough weapons to beat them. Well, no. Well, this is the thing. What Kyrie was trying to tell Tim Duncan, I'll get back to it just a second. What Kyrie was trying to tell Ant is that sometimes he is. Let me address one at a time. KD can come up big for you in bigger ways. You know. However, Kyrie, when he goes into that a repertoire where he breaks it down, but that's after it's predicated on whoever he's rolling with. He has to have an alpha, a player that complements it, because it has to be within syncopation. Sometimes it ain't. So that's why. But they do different things. That's why Ant didn't understand. Kyrie's not a jump shooting settler. He does that. He's more dangerous than what he showed the other night. He will wear your behind out. If you get bop and weave and he takes you 1-on-1, you don't want to be on skates with him. That's the worst thing you could wish for. You better let him sit there and shoot. Tim Duncan, 5'2", better player than Dirk. I love Dirk a lot, but Duncan was a better player overall. More complete game. But Dirk was bad though. Now, Tatum's the better player. Brown has better moments, but they don't win nothing if Tatum don't come up big. In case you don't remember, as a Miami Heat fan last year, who got their pockets stripped? Who got their pockets padded down? Brown did. He tried to carry that loose change on his left, and Jimmy Butler clipped him every chance he got. Can't rock it like Tatum on that regard. He's tough and he can come up big, but they got to have Tatum to win. Tatum has to set the precedent with his scoring, his driving, free throw shooting, to play all around game. It rolls through Tatum. I like Brown at times better, but he's too inconsistent. Chris Bosh, for me. Pierce is a better, what you call a possession scorer, but he couldn't do all the stuff Bosh did. Right now, he's better than that because he's more established. Tatum's been around the circles more than Ant. He's been to a finals already. Ant is kind of like new to the situation. Give him a couple years though. See, seasoning. He's still learning. But I'll tell you this much: if he fools around and goes deep, he got a chance to catch him. I'll tell you that because Tatum did had him a lot of chances. I think Chris Bosh is unfairly underrated. I think Bosh, the talent, the depth, the magnitude, the versatility. Pierce can defend, but Bosh could check different position players. He could adapt his game. Pierce had that same old man shot and play. Chris Bosh could wiggle and hit you with the three. He could drive on you. He could hit a set shot. He beat you in different ways. He got better stats than Bosh, but Bosch game move me more. We'll see if that's the case time that works in his favor. But he has to have a great one because he hasn't really knocked people out with what he's done so far. So it's possible. I really don't have a dog in the race. Yeah, he was. He was a 20-10 man. That's not gonna really mean nothing. He didn't do nothing in Boston. You up here acting like it was their fault that they gave up on him because they thought, oh, you. Well, he didn't really fit. Tatum and Brown. Tatum took over and got to Eastern Conference Finals. He is on cruise control. Well, first of all, beat a depleted Miami Heat team, beat a self-depleted Cleveland Cavaliers team, and beating a team that isn't the smartest tools in the box in the Indiana Pacers. And if Tyrese doesn't play, that's another. It'd be an easier path to the finals. The reason why, and they are in cruise control because they really haven't had to break out the repertoire. More credit for what? He's got a squad around him. I don't know what more credit. What you mean more credit? He got to win a ring. What you talking about more credit? You got to win a ring. Who he play for? Who does Tatum plays for? Thank you, Ted. Who does he play for? JT. Who does he play for? Answer the question. Who does Jason Tatum play for? Talking about more credit. Oh. And the Celtics carry weight. The Celtics, like the Lakers, there isn't no, oh, we got to the set. Ask Ted that. Oh, we get to the first round. Oh, we the second round. Oh, we play in champions. Oh, we third round. This is the freaking Boston Celtics we're talking about. That's like the LA. You don't do this. Oh. I take it, I hope you're a basketball aficionado or a fan like we are. Ooh is reserved for the Timberwolves getting to the third round. Ooh is reserved for the Pacers getting to the third round. Ooh is reserved. I don't know about that. I'm not going to say that. I've seen other teams have it too. I'm not going to say that. There have been other teams that have had easy paths. I think what makes this path look worse is because the Heat weren't the Heat fully, and they got a game on for Boston. Cleveland beat them up. Yeah, I'd say other teams. So, and Indiana might still win the game. So that's an easy path when you get beat and you look beatable. So I don't think that. No, he doesn't carry the kind of weight. He doesn't carry Devin Booker's weight. I'm not big on Booker, and I could agree with that, but you got to understand the politics involved. Devin Booker carries more weight. He been to a final just like Jalen. He carries more weight. Some of these things you got to research out because, yeah, Junior Whopper Kobe, but it's politics involved. And Devin did get crossover flavor. Jalen ain't got no crossover flavor. I would like to say that too, G88. I'd like to agree with that, but I don't know. I mean, I'd say this. You would think that. But if it's Dallas, I'd say they would win. Minnesota's pretty flawed. They should. And we want Ant to win. We like what we see, but sometimes with Rudy Gobert and Cat and him, I don't know. I don't know. They're not a consistent team. They got talent. He'd still be outside top 10 because his career, he it's kind of like he's a better version of Rondo with skills, but he's kind of in the same Rondo boat because he's the it a lot of stuff is deteriorated, taking him away from that, and it wouldn't move him up because he's not the main dude. It'd give him some leverage, but it wouldn't be like that. Like I can hold him in high regard, but you're not going to look at Kyrie's top 5 or something like that. That ain't gonna happen. So doesn't really do much for his ranking. Besides, he's not considered one of the 75 greatest players, so take it up with them. Debatable. He could be 75. He could be in the 70, 75 range. But, you know, it's a different kind of meaning what it would mean. It wouldn't really move him up, though. Is he overrated? He's tough. I don't know if it's kind of like in between. Now I'll say it like this. If you want my honest opinion, I'd still take Roger Staubach over him. And I believe if Tony Romo had the poise that Dak Prescott had, he'd have been ranked over him too. Because Aikman wasn't a stat pad machine, and he had great talent around. Lord knows he had one of the greatest situations you could ever dream of. But he's about middle of the road with me, you know. But he did have it pretty good. Well, that's not how it's going to turn out on an all-time list. CP3 will still get more love. CP3 will still get more love than Kyrie because Kyrie been to too many teams, and to most people, 2016 is almost a decade ago, and they've seen him in the Celtics, they've seen him with Brooklyn, now they've seen him with Dallas, and his reputation kind of took a hit. And if he was the focal point or things had been a certain way, probably. But there's a lot of damage that was done on the court. Not so much off. I'm just strictly talking on the court. So I think people love his talent, but they don't talk about his game. Can I say that? When we talk about Kyrie, can we agree on that? They love his game. They love his talent. They don't talk about his game. They talk about how skilled he is, and they say he might be the most with all that. But when you ask someone to come with their top 5 or 6 point guards, he ain't never gonna crack that. Except for someone that's either in his family or someone that, debates certain things. He's not gonna get that love. But a lot of it's because he didn't lead the team. And he's been with what we call made dudes. Because if Luca goes off and wins and all that, he's a made dude. In the 20s. And he has to win a league MVP. See, he got a chance to be 30s. I say 25 to 35 now. If he wins the Finals MVP, he wins the league MVP along with that. Then he moves to about 24, 23. It'll be interesting how it all plays out. Of course, the NBA wants him to be battling Jokic and then face Embiid or something. Oh, it's Ryan Clark, and it's in a blowout. Spears is all right. He's animated, but Ryan Clark covers details. Ryan gets passionate about it. I give Ryan the edge. You talking about Teddy Bruschi? Randy Moss, Teddy Bruschi? I'm going with Bruschi. That stuff that Moss said about co-signing with Alex Smith about Brady playing a watered down or distant division, I didn't understand that at all. But I know he has to kind of like get in where he fits in. He does some all right takes, but that was a bad take. Teddy Bruce could be pretty spot on. Yeah, he's good. I like Stray. He's good. He's good. I got a few more minutes before I gotta go eat too. Been having a good time tonight. We got a live stream tonight. This was good. I'm gonna be on for 5 more minutes. This has been great tonight. I see the numbers are up. Likes came in. A few trolls, but nothing nothing I can't handle. But this is good. Yeah, I like Stray. Stray's pretty direct. He's pretty versatile too. He does a good job commentating on other things. All right, now what's going on? He's not rated at all. No one talks about Carlos Boozer. Come on now. The only thing Carlos Boozer is remembered for is Prince renting his house. No one talks about Carlos Boozer. Drunk Boozer. Come on now. Then you trolling that one. That's a troll comment there. Minnesota. They better win tonight. They better win. If they lose tonight, they're in trouble. I don't think they go to Dallas because the style will be hard. Now, this is crazy. I'm going to say this. If both teams were to go down 0-2, Indiana would have a better chance than Minnesota because of what I've seen. Because as flawed as Indiana is, they can score, and Boston will be nice and give you something. I don't think Dallas is going to let their foot off the gas. Yeah, that's not a good one. Not him. Not him. I mean, if you ask certain people, that story he talks about Prince taking his house, and it's the only thing I remember about his career because I forgot all about his career. He played with Utah, Cleveland, and the Lakers, and then I'm stumped, and the Bulls, and then I'm stumped because it wasn't memorable. He had a pretty good start. I remember when him and oh god uh uh come on now, Utah's point guard back in 2010, because it was him, Rondo, and CP3 were the best three going. He ended up playing with LeBron in Cleveland, and he cried about he wanted to go home today. And he ran. I always talk about him. He ran Jerry Sloan out. Yeah, Deron Williams, and they were hyped as the new Stockton and Malone garbage, which was comical. Some turkey said that. I actually had a buddy of mine actually would say that to my face, and I looked at him sideways. So anyway, he got up with LeBron. He played with some people. He didn't do much. Chicago career wasn't memorable. Boozer's career hasn't been that memorable. So the only thing I ever remember about Carlos Boozer is he rented that house to Prince. That was the only thing. Okay. You went to high school with who? You went to high school with who? Which one? So and I liked Deron back then. Yeah, he was nice in Utah, but then after that the wheels came off. He was runner up with Cleveland. That didn't work, and he cried he want to go home to Dallas, and that's how it's sad too, because that dude was actually, I thought him, Rondo, and CP3 were one of the three best point guards going at the time, and you could have made a case. You could have made a case for one of either, and he was scoring, and he was definitely, but that whole the Stockton and Malone comparison, then he got into it with Jerry Sloan. I don't know. Top five centers ever or now? There are Well, obviously in the NBA, but I mean, are you talking about all time or are you talking about now? Because there ain't five centers today that I would say top five today. I'd say ever. Oh God, I mean, really? Well, Jokic is one of them. Joel Embiid. I guess AD by default. And hmm. Deep down, I want to say Brooke Lopez, but he doesn't get played the right way. He should be. And hmm, trying to think of who am I missing. I got four cats off the top. Yeah, I can't think right now. Hated my brain went numb. Well, I can't think of the fifth one because but I don't want to say Andre Drummond. It's gonna be somebody that because I'm really trying hard pressed to think who I mentioned as the fifth one. Great question, but I gotta give it to Jeter. Came up more big in more ways and defend himself as a hitter. I think Cal Ripken Jr. Once he lost Eddie Murray that hurt his career big. But the consecutive game streak, and he was a great player. But Jeter was, you know, pretty special because he came up big in October. He was big time. So I got about a minute and a half before I'm going to go because it's about 2 more minutes before I am going to exit stage. Though appreciate everybody coming through tonight. It's a lot of great questions, great topics. Covered a lot of different styles tonight. So appreciate that as always because that really makes my day and my evening when we can go on baseball, football, basketball, movies, music, etc. That's a good one about the Jeter and Cal Ripken Jr. because I know it never comes up. And Ripken was a precursor to that. You know, great talent, had a great career. But I still think if he'd have had Eddie Murray longer, his career would have been even more scarier. Yeah. Well, he won five of them actually. Went to seven World Series. Cal Ripken Jr. only 1983 against the Phillies, and that's a big thing because I don't want to just say only because baseball it's tougher than any other sports to win rings, and they don't really hold rings against you or for you in baseball. They just don't. No one puts Yogi Berra in the same sentence as Bill Russell. He's got more World Series championships as a Yankees catcher, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So, but Jeter overall did more, beat you in more different ways. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, appreciate everybody coming through. Thank you again. Uh, that had nothing to do with that. Joe Torre had Derek Jeter. And who's Joe Girardi? Come on now. Joe Torre was a great manager. And I go back to him when he's with the St. Louis player with the Atlanta when we managed Atlanta. He could manage. But Joe Girardi, is that what you said? Joe Girardi went to what? Philly and they fired him. Now look at the Phillies this year. Oh yeah, I keep up too, by the way. Look at the Phillies record when they got rid of Girardi. He got that one ring and he was average. And he went to Philly and he was average and they got his butt up out of there. So what they look like right now, they look like the best team going in the National League. And he a pretty average dude. He got very fortunate. He had the pie zone. He got the hookup, but not much to him. Not much to him. You can think what you want when you say Girardi, but a team gets rid of him and they 20 games over 500, and they make a run like they did the last couple of years. Yeah, yeah. I'm not coming at you wrong, but when you said Torrey and Girardi, don't put them in the same sentence. The only thing they got in common is they both were Italian, and they both first name starts with being Joe. That's it. That's all they got in common. Because Joe Torre is a manager, and Joe Girardi's. Oh no, you didn't know. You thought you brought that up. And one thing about baseball, managers get love, but they're only as good as the product they have on the field. Jeter was a winner, yo. Jeter was a clutch player. That's all. I ain't mad at you. Just say you didn't know about the levels to it. Because Girardi got a ring, but so does Bob Brenly. As a Yankee fan, Ted knows what I'm talking about, but you don't have no debate where he's, ring can mean something. But if you're one of those kind of managers, it's kind of, you know, so. But it's okay, though. Anyway, I'm going to get ready to roll. No harm, no foul. We all good. So, appreciate the questions and great chats and everything. And God will be back in 24 hours. Stay blessed, stay warm, stay safe. Thank you always. Appreciate all the questions, the feedback. Glad to see a lot of people came out tonight because it was definitely, it's the weekend. People could be anywhere they want to be. I'm glad they came to the live stream. So appreciate everybody. All right, take care now. Peace.